It's the real word. It's the real word. It's the real word. It's the real word.
We on a mission and that's bringing y'all the truth. You know the problem, but we get into the root. The devil watching, yeah, he always on pursuit. But Jesus is our rock, so we shall not be moved. We on a winning team, so we can't lose. We say facts, cause we hitting y'all with proof. Started from the bottom, now we standing on the roof. As God as our witness, we gon' make it to the moon. When you want the truth, the world be hiding it. This the real word, we providing it. We got Acee, BK, Truth, Rick Star, and we plan to make a movie like it's Pixar. We came a long way from the plantation. We just tryna save your souls from damnation. So if you down with the message, tune in every week. It will lead you to the message that you seek.
It's the real word. It's the real word. It's the real word. It's the real word.
We live?
Yeah. So what's up, y'all? Welcome to The Real Word, Season 5, Episode 21. Shout out to everybody that's watching. Shout out to everybody that's been supporting us so far, thus far. We thank you for being here with us today. We're here with our co-host. Introduce yourself, gentlemen.
You know, the only one and only Acee Irving in the building. Having me on Instagram. Acee Irving 11. No 11, you already know that's not me.
Introduce yourself.
Aces out here.
It's BK.Truth, you know, your regular guy in Brooklyn. Y'all see me everywhere, so we're gonna be talking some real stuff. I can't curse, you know.
Spicy.
Some real ting, you know.
And we're here with two special guests. Introduce yourself, gentlemen.
I'm Jeremiah Williams. I'm a business consultant. I'm CEO of J. Williams Consulting. It's my partner.
But it is world. My name is Acee, A.C.E.me. It's the Acee Money. I'm also a consultant and a financial advisor. You can follow me on my socials, Acee_Thomas Money on everything.
Everything.
So shout out to everybody that's watching. Shout out to everybody that's been supporting. Shout out to everybody that has helped us to get this far so far. We thank y'all for all your support. You can follow us on Instagram at The Real Word Ministries Inc. on Instagram, The Real Word Ministries Inc. on Instagram, The Real Word 7, the number 7, The Real Word 7 on Facebook, The Real Word TV on YouTube. That's The Real Word TV on YouTube. Catch us on Soundcloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts at The Real Word Podcast. That's The Real Word Podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, and iTunes. So shout out to everybody that's helped us get this far, and shout out to y'all. So
We everywhere.
Acee
said it too.
So shout out to my two guests today. Telling people a little bit about what it is that you guys are doing, what y'all got going on.
Oh yeah, of course. So firsthand, I know that we can't live in this world without money. So I'm very big on financial empowerment. So we help our clients / customers get financial empowerment by starting their own businesses or getting them access to capital, or in other words, funding. So we do this through enhancing their credit or teaching them channels or introducing them to access their capabilities that they probably never knew prior to. So anyone that has a business probably doesn't know this, but you have the ability to earn capital just off of having a good credit score. If you have good credit, you have the ability to earn money just off of owning real estate. So these are things that we primarily focus in assisting our clients achieve financial freedom.
Yeah, just to piggyback off what he said, you know, we teach the importance of just being independent and having something that not only generates you revenue and helps you take care of your family, but also stamps your legacy into existence. And essentially, I think that's very important. One quote that I always embody is, if you're not living for legacy, you're living for failure. So you always have to create something bigger than yourself. And that's why this has been able to be so successful, because you're out here, you're doing things for the community, you're building, you're bridging so many gaps, you're addressing so many situations that a lot of people are fearful of even addressing. And that's why you've been able to continue growing. Your legacy is continuing to be stamped. They know the real word. You know what I'm saying? We on every platform. We out here. Know what's going on.
Yeah. I read a book recently called The Go-Getter. And it gives you 5 principles that you go by in life in order for you to be successful. And one of the measurements of success, your success is measured by what you give. So the more that you give and the more that you serve is the more that you will receive. Don't ask someone what they could do for you, but what you could do for them. They're going to be like, wait, Really? And
It makes a lot of sense.
that's when it comes back full circle. Perfect example is one day I went to a meeting in Long Island, and there was a lot of people there, and I was a little bit out of my element because I'm the only young black guy there. Everybody's like old, white,
I know
money, you know, and I'm sitting there. And I'm sitting there, and it's like I sat at the table with the old black ladies. You know, there's always a bunch of old black ladies, they're like church ladies. So I sat next to them, and then they're like, "Oh, so what do you do?" I'm like, "Oh, I just own this company." I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Oh, okay, good for you." I said, "Yeah," and then I'm sitting there, and then everybody's crowding around this lady, like this short lady. No disrespect. So everybody's crowding around her, and then I'm like, "Who's this lady?" And I asked the girl next to me, I'm like, "Yo, who's this lady?" She's like, "Oh, she's so and so. She owns all of this." I said, "Word?" She said, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh, okay, cool." And I sit there and I play the cut. She's like, "Okay, it's time to network. You gotta move around the room." I said, "Well, I'm gonna move around the room and talk to all these people when she owns all of this. I'm just gonna talk to her." So I waited. I played the cut. You know, I ate because they had like a big breakfast for everybody. I ate and then I chilled for a little bit. And then Investors Bank was there because they were trying to get the businesses to open up business accounts with Investors Bank and then do things like that. So they sponsored the event. And then as soon as she walked out, I just see half the crowd follow her. So I went after, I played the cut. And then she was like, "What about you, young man? What is it that you do?" I said, "Oh, now I own this company." She's like, "Oh, and what else do you guys do?" I was like, "Oh, we do the show, we do media and all that." She's like, "Oh, did you know I own the newspapers?" I'm like, "Nah, I didn't know." She was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Whatever you guys do, put it in the paper. I got you. I'm gonna put you in the paper. I'm gonna put you guys out there because you guys have to get in front of more people and more platforms. I'm gonna help you out." I'm looking at this lady like, this lady's lying. Like, what are you lying to me for? She was like, "Here's my card. Call my assistant and she's gonna set up a meeting. Just go." I looked at the card, set up the meeting. She had a building at Metrotech downtown Brooklyn. So I went there, they set the meeting up. And then we was telling them about everything that we was doing. They was like, "Oh," she's like, "you guys deserve an award for that." And I'm like, are they being sarcastic? And then she was dead serious, and then that's how we ended up getting the awards. And then every single time I used to just text her, and every time we do things, I send it to her, and she puts it in the paper. And that's how we end up being in the paper all the time. And I'm like, so this is how things really work. Like, the plug. The other day I was driving Uber, and then, because extra money, and you get to network. Like I did over 1,000 rides. So I've interacted with over 1,000 different people. Oh, wow. So this guy, like, he came in the car, he was like, he's from California, this and that, and he was like, "Yo, I like your vibe." He was like, "Yo, let's do business." I said, "Well, let's do business." He said, "Yeah, let's do business." He said, "This is how it works." You know? And I said, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Why do they keep saying that? This is how it works." So then I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." He gives me a call. And he's the one that told me to read that book. And as I'm reading, he was like, "Don't listen to the audiobook. Read the words. Because when you read the words, it starts to open a part in your brain that's never usually open." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Just read it. You'll see." But then we had like a 2-hour Zoom. And he was like, "Yo." And he broke down life, basically. He was like, same thing that you guys do every day. He was like, most people sell their time for money. And that's how they make an income. But basically, if someone's paying you $50,000, they're probably making 50 million or 5 million, and they just paying you a percentage of that, the smallest percentage that they can get out of you.
Exactly.
And if you're getting paid 50,000, you're probably making that company over 500,000. He said you could never become rich working a 9 to 5. Never. Yeah. It's multiple streams of passive income while you're not working that makes you money, or unless you have a lot of laborers under you that's working while you sleep. And he was like, "Yo, I had the privilege and opportunity to be around people that put me in positions that put me in order to meet people that have money." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, he said, "This is how it works." And then he was like, "Okay, and I'm going to put you through a set of trials. Whenever you go through them, and if you actually do it, that's how I know that you're serious enough to do business with me." In the book, the guy has to implement 5 steps in his life in order for him to meet where he goes. The people that he needs for him to meet there is already around him. He just overlooks them because his mind state is on getting rich, not helping people, and then benefits come afterwards.
Right.
If you want to see success, help people. The more people you help, the more successful you will come, because more people will know your name and more people will know your face. Remember, we weren't known until we started helping people.
Yeah, you're right.
Now, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TV, newspaper.
Recently, I had some good things that happened to me too. Like, I mean, like when you say when you give more, you get back things in return. Like now, I just got my first call, but the way I got my first call was just like, it wasn't a plan that I had that was gonna happen now. It just got placed right in my face, the opportunity I had, but I realized that I think the reason why I was blessed to get my first call this Friday is because I've been giving back. Because I mean, when I was young, I was more hostile, but as I grow up, I become more of a mature man, professional, and I've been giving, I've been giving back to the communities. I mean, here and there, I'm dealing with the haters, but I'm managing it different compared to how I would back when I was younger, and it's smarter. So I see the haters, and it's crazy. Like the people you be chilling with don't even be supporting the good you do, but they will support everything bad that you do and praise that. That doesn't make no sense to me now as I grow up. But yeah, I've been giving back to the community, and the way I would do that, like I was saying, like when I would see the homeless and I would see all these MTA people, they would pass by saying, "I ain't got no money, but come on, you work for the MTA. Like, you work for the city, I work for the city, I deal with expenses and stuff, like, I see wages, they got money."
But some people live above their means, so then their money is spent before they even get it sometimes.
Well, let me add to that. I mean, you gotta look at it, it's systemic to begin with. So what you're taught about money from a young age, or the type of household you brought in, are the basic principles that you adapt. So if you were brought in a poverty-stricken household, household where they're hiding the toilet paper, or where you're taught that, hey, saving is I don't know, ridiculous, or where you're taught and you never heard of a credit score, or where you're taught, I don't know, the measure of success is based on how you look versus what you know.
Yeah.
You know, that thing transfers over, and it's basically what a lot of the urban communities are filled with. Like, when you look at it, if you were to try and grab 10 kids from, you know, the inner city, urban community, and tell them, like, hey, I'm going to educate you on how to be successful, right? And then they realize that they have to read, and it doesn't involve them, like, showing off or being involved in some type of lifestyle that is, like, compared to a rapper. Oh, you corny. Because look at who we look up to. We look up to entertainers and rappers. We don't look up to philosophers. We don't look up to educators. You don't hear people actually saying, I look up to Jeff Bezos or Warren Buffett or...
You don't hear that.
That's facts.
I want to be like
just
all the rappers, but you ain't going to say nothing outside of that.
Majority of people don't even know who those guys are.
Yeah, they don't. They're like, who's that?
And the crazy
but you know the entertainers, though.
And the crazy part is...
they pay them.
The wealth gap is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. One of the things that this pandemic did is it crushed the middle class, in the sense that a lot of the small business owners were the middle class, and they the individuals that actually go out and vote, that own property, the ones that actually try to go against the upper class. And if you look at it, just look outside, you see how much small business actually closed down, and you see how much houses are for sale right now.
And that's just the beginning. It's just the beginning.
It was maybe two they even come yet.
With one place advocating say that a part of that is them not being prepared for the storm.
Yeah.
So that means that they were ill prepared.
Most people live in a YOLO lifestyle. YOLO, you only live once.
Oh, YOLO, yeah, of course.
So they just be like, oh, I'm in a live in the moment, but you're not planning nothing for the future.
I think that's BS though. I feel like they plug that in like how they plug in everything, you know, in the sense of with the coronavirus, they plug that into our head, and like you were saying before, it kind of enters your matrix and starts making you believe it.
And then it becomes your reality.
Yeah.
That's what I feel YOLO was. Because I remember I was upset at that.
It's
I was
all
partying at that age, and I got upset. The thought process of you only live once. I'm like, hold on. Me and my bros trying to live forever. What are y'all talking about? Like, we trying to wake up tomorrow. We're not trying to pass out tonight. Like, we try to wake up. So I was like, yo, why everyone's, YOLO. I'm like, it kind of entered the matrix.
Exactly.
All of a sudden, everyone's thinking, yeah, you only live once. No, we try to live. Because one thing I like about jobs when you talk to real people like your brother is kind of like, you realize that, oh, shoot, everything they're saying is a lie. Because I'm like, when I talk to people, everyone's talking about investing.
Yeah.
I'm like, the only people who think everyone's talking about YOLO or, or thinking like that are people who's into the TV.
It's the poor people.
Yeah.
Yeah, people who are learning from the entertainers, like you were saying.
That's why they say.
You know what I've realized is that one of the main emotions that most people operate from is fear. And that's the reason why there's so many problems. That's the reason why there's so many implementations of laws and policies on particular groups and types of people because of a particular fear that these people are experiencing on an ongoing basis. So many principles are developed from the foundation of fear. Like everything. Literally, people live particular lifestyles. The YOLO thing that you guys are talking about is fearful.
Yeah.
People become so fearful that imminent death is like okay. Because they're so scared of having to wait for it. They're so scared of the unexpected. That's why people seek instant gratification. Because they're so fearful of actually seeing what transpires as you go through the motions of doing something. They just want it instantly. Let me look good. Let me look good right now. Because I'm fearful to work hard for it and invest time and miss out on this wave. I need to look like this wave right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm fearful.
I want to live like the life right now. Like,
I'm fearful. Will I be relevant if I don't hop in on this? You know what I'm saying? But that's why we have to make entrepreneurship the new thing, the new wave. And I see there is an ongoing trend, and I do credit, the unemployment, because a lot of people are having this income. Yes. You know what I'm saying? They have money that they've never had access to before. Yeah. And now they could actually use that money, come talk to the right professionals, like myself and my partner Acee right here, and we're located at 11 West Prospect Avenue in Mount Vernon, New York. They need to come talk to people like us when they have access to that capital so they can increase it. Because now they can make it last for longer than they have right now. This is temporary if you allow it to be. Yeah. But people are going to be fearful. They're going to hop into the waves. They're going to buy the clothes that they need right now. They're going to buy the jewelry. They're going to have to do the Don Julio. They outside in the club with Coronas out. That's cool. But they have to be out right now. Like, no matter what's going on in this world right now, like, you know what? It's been too long. I can't lose my clout.
They need a up.
Because honestly, social media is like a double-edged sword. Because it can be for the attention seekers, the clout seekers, and then people use it for business. Yeah. There are people who are making livings off of social media.
They're trying to drown out social media. Yeah. I feel like they're drowning it out with so much negativity, like the twerking.
You know what it is?
The silly dancing.
When you make it harder to monetize this, the good people don't even want to put it out there anymore. To be honest, because now we're gonna go back to networking events and stuff, like keeping it interpersonal. At the end of the that's come on, because if you're not paying me for my content, if you're not going to allow me to generate revenue because you're changing your algorithm because people are eating too much.
And that's what they do.
And that's why the negativity's free.
Yo, this whole thing hit when entrepreneurship was getting on fire. I feel like everyone was reaching heights. And then, boom, everyone hit a stick in the mud because it was... Why was that so convenient?
But too many people escalating. But look who got the most money now. Is the billionaires.
Exactly.
A lot of and the bank stole a lot of money too. The bank stole a lot of money, and they got bailed out again. For the third, fourth time.
You see what they did for the stock market?
Sure. Except Harvard, bro. Because every bank was eating except Harvard. We don't really go into the mess. Wow. And I feel like that's our culture in a sense. Like we don't really want to play dirty with them. So we just stay low.
Wells Fargo ain't good though. I know that.
One thing I gotta understand about what social media did is that social media minimized operating costs. So as the business owners of the people who do run the world, you have people becoming millionaires such as the Cardi B's and the Fatboy SSC's and the Grant Cardones and the Gary V's, and they're paying little to no operating costs. So, it's
that's
like,
facts.
As the owner of these platforms, do you continue to let these people become millionaires without you collecting your fair share? Or do you fix the algorithm so that you're able to get your fair share, or do you create a whole new platform? So that I'm not totally against. What I am against is how social media is just becoming a marketing tool for like women to solicit whatever. At this point, yeah. No, because it's the point where your pages say, well, what I do is
OnlyFans.
But just by default, like 70% of the timelines now are flooded with women in bikinis or flat tummy tees or just twerking or whatever.
Fashion Nova, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, but if you see that all day,
and that's owned by a Jewish man.
Yeah,
exactly. But you see that all day.
You know they good at this manipulating stuff.
But you ain't never going though, cause you know, oh, it was a Jewish man.
But you have a choice. So like with me, I don't see that. That's not really on my timeline. Why? One of two things. I unfollow pages that I feel like is not fulfilling my purpose.
That's correct.
Or I mute. Sometimes you have friends that post stuff that you don't care about. You just mute them. They'll never know.
That's what I do. Everything could bring you up or down.
I do it all the time. I mute somebody if I feel like your content is not fulfilling my life, or I feel like you're just trying too hard. Like one of my friends, he's a professional troll. He'll pick like the stupidest thing in the world and agree with it.
Professional.
No, he's a professional. He'll be like, Michael Jordan wasn't the best basketball player ever. Whatever.
His whole goal is to distract you.
Exactly. He'll do that. Or he'll be like, he'll just start something like, some girl in your neighborhood, this girl is better than Nicki Minaj. Like he'll just do it, but you know, controversy is content, and people understand that, and that's why the blogs make a lot of money. Like you even look at the Megan Tory Lane, just controversy, like or whatever. It doesn't matter if it's a Michael Jackson or Hove and Beyonce beefing, whatever it may be. But if it's controversial, it sells, and we're so caught up in the celebrity lifestyle that it takes away from the time you go be spending, investing, and learning stuff. And then you start to go down the rabbit hole once you start to pay attention to celebrity stuff, because now you're invested in like a TV show.
The distractions at an all-time high right now.
Pay attention where you put your energy. That matters.
Yeah, who you spend your time around, all of that matters.
Facts.
That's a fact. You're wrong with the wrong circle, you end up in the wrong place.
Yeah, man. So there's a lot going on, especially in the news right now. Sports is back. I know you guys are sports fans. A lot of people was complaining how the NBA looks kind of weird without the crowd.
And it's over.
It's weird.
I'm not watching it.
But
I tried.
People will watch it. You're getting real custom.
Oh, I'm not watching. I know people.
They're gonna watch the finals. Whoever.
When the finals don't.
If LeBron makes it to the finals, people are gonna watch.
That's a
fact.
But that's why a lot of people feel like
the Lakers
win. Professional sports is orchestrated. It's like a storyline where it's like the most popular players always make it to the finals so that more people could watch it, which generates more viewership and revenue.
It's a business.
It's a business. So LeBron's their biggest star. Like even when he was on the East, he made the finals almost every year.
10 years.
Yeah.
With 9 years, 9 in a row.
LeBron in the East or Eddie.
Exactly.
LeBron though. I remember.
And it's all math if you think about it. They got East and West. They got people on the West voting for who's the most popular West player, and they got people on the East voting for the most popular East. The All-Star game pretty much predicts the future.
But you said something very important, and you said it's all math.
It's all math.
Because biblically, right? In the book of Genesis with the Tower of Babel, when all the man spoke one language, one accord, one mind, they all could communicate. They all came together to build a city. Then they built a tower so that they could reach heaven without God. Yeah. God said, y'all got the consciousness and this is what you do. So he scattered them around and everybody started changing languages. But one language that stays the same in whatever language is what? Math. The numbers. And with numbers comes what? Geography. Where you could turn numbers into shapes.
Power in a sense of
and shapes is what? Letters, right? And when you write letters, you write it down. You write in script.
They don't teach you
that
was
originally, right? Originally, back in the days, they were all official documents in script. They were like the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Emancipation Proclamation, all written in script. And what is script? It's a cursive. So if you're doing cursives and you're doing scripts, then obviously you're performing magic.
That's how you're translating it to other people.
But then they took something where they can take fractals and geography and they could make it move even faster. They call that a motion picture, which 100 what's the numbers? Where they take milliseconds and they take frames and then it creates a movie. So where do they create movies? In a place called Hollywood.
Yeah.
What's a Hollywood? the wood from a holly tree, which witches used to create brooms and sticks to create magic.
Bingo.
Jesus.
You do not get
But
one
wait,
of these
but
details.
who
from Beta
owns
12.
who owns Hollywood and owns all the movie companies and creating a vision for the world to see so that they could own the world? Let's not answer that question.
We ain't gonna do that. We don't want to do that.
We're gonna get Nick
They gonna have the black van outside.
We just know
It's
who's
like,
winning.
hold
We just know who's winning.
Who told y'all all these information?
We don't want to get Nick Cannon.
Yeah, right. Have you apologizing tomorrow?
That fast. That fast.
Wouldn't one admire the organization that one would have to be able to have so much control over an
Of
industry?
course, I can't lie. It's kind of in a
That's why it's
sports
called the
reference. In a sports reference, it's kind of like watching Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. You know, you don't really cheer for them to win unless you're a fan, of course. But you don't really want. You're tired of seeing them, but you respect the game in the sense of they do it in a professional way.
Brady
They work
got
together. They humble.
6 rings. No, they say that I'm gonna say he the GOAT because of the rings. But based on how I know how, I'm not gonna go deep. Based on how I know numbers work, I ain't gonna hold you this. Aaron Rodgers is better than him.
Oh gosh, you're going through the debate.
My whole phone stopped working.
You got snuck up on.
Alright, so we back for part 2.
It would have been Get Out.
Pardon?
It would have been
So
Get out.
So what my brother here was saying, he was saying that you respect the way that they organized it in order for them to create such structure and for them to have that control for so long. We gotta look at it. You guys ever heard of the story of Rothschild, right?
Yeah, I know.
How he had the sons and he sent them out to different parts of their world, as in their world. Okay, after a while, this to the left of the map is all called the New World. But at the time, their world was just Russia, Europe, Asia, China, and Africa. Africa was when they just came down and they just started taking over.
Yep.
And
I mean, if you just
tries
look
to
at
kill
the
each other.
colors, look at the colors, bro. You can
Exactly.
see how much they own. Basically, just going off the color. Look at Russia.
But basically, though,
That's the beginning in a sense.
at the time, the Rothschild father, he sent out all his sons to different places with a certain amount of money. And he's like, set up a bank, set up a bank, set up a bank. And that's all they did. Once they went, then they set up the banks, then they started giving out loans, even to the government. And they gave them high interest so they wouldn't be able to pay it back. Now you owe me now. But now I own you because you owe me. So I give you a loan that I know that you can't pay back. Now I can control you. Well, you don't want to do what I say. Now I'm going to give the person that I know don't like you more money so that they could buy more weapons and troop. And they're going to come take you over. And I still win.
And
Man, they've been playing that game, and they still
Since
are.
the 1920s.
Well, that's how wealth was created. Wealth was created through usury, and usury is just the fact of charging interest. If I loan anyone in this room $1 and you give me back $1 a week from now, I gain nothing because I gain back what I was owed. But if I charge you $1 at 10%, I get back $1 and a dime.
Mm-hmm.
So if you, do
You gotta
10%,
give me
exactly.
more.
But here's the trick. Biblically, they can't charge interest to their own. Only to people that don't share the same faith as them.
Exactly.
That's how they keep the wealth amongst each other,
Agreed.
but they tax you.
Yeah, that's why they had incest. They had kids
Well, that's another subject.
You gotta make them babies.
kept it in the family.
Speaking of incest, right? There's been
Wait,
a lot of
I thought you said that's another subject.
Yeah, speaking of that, I'm gonna bring that to the sex trafficking.
Oh, jeez.
During this quarantine time, during this quarantine time, it's been a lot of sex trafficking. A lot of people getting exposed. You know, start off with Jeffrey Epstein, then he mysteriously got killed in the tombs. The camera stopped working. The guards fell asleep.
Allegedly.
That's
And
some type
no one
of
saw
movie
nothing,
stories,
and
you know,
he just died. Okay,
It just worked out.
So-
Just worked
it's
out.
like in Power when all their enemies was just dying suddenly, right?
Perfectly, just like he wanted. Like,
Even the people in jail just mysteriously died.
and no one could find out how. Like,
No cameras?
The only ones who could kill them is them, because Ghost ended up getting killed by his own son.
someone in the family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Someone close enough. So now they have his girlfriend / madam in protective custody, and they said that they said that they're protecting her from assassins. That was in the paper. So they're moving her around every night so no one knows where she's at. Just like in the movies when they got a high profile person, so they put them in the truck and they just drive around all night in the truck.
And that's their job.
Look like you can't fall asleep when you drive.
You see what happened to the judge's son in the house.
Oh yeah, they killed the judge's son. They ran the crib and tried to body the judge. And this is not the first time this has happened in the history of the world. This goes back to the Greco-Roman time. Like
It's a repeat.
Back then, pedophilia and those things was regular. Like if you were an older masculine man and you had a squire, which is a boy assistant, which you basically tutor and mentoring him and raising him up under you. Say for example, you was a shoemaker or a welder or a blacksmith, you had an apprentice. Basically, if he was younger than you or had female features, and you was of nobility and he was of the lower class, or if he wasn't a citizen of where you was at, you can legally sleep with him within the Roman Empire, and you wouldn't be looked down upon, but the boy would be looked down upon, but you wouldn't be looked down upon.
As he's cursed and you.
As time goes by and there's nothing new under the sun, this is happening, but now it has to be covert. That's where pizzas and hot dogs come in, right?
Yep.
So then, so then now we see with Jeffrey Epstein.
60 pizzas.
So with Jeffrey Epstein, he had the flight log with all the information. This couldn't come out. They bodied him, right? Supposedly, allegedly. Now they got his girl. They moving it around. I was looking up this story about this other guy. I forget his name. He had a sex dungeon. This guy was on welfare, but he owned 6 houses while he was on welfare.
The Nexum from upstate.
I don't know. He was from the UK or something. He wasn't from America, but he owned 6 homes and he was on welfare, and he had sex dungeons in his basement. When people was telling the police that this guy was doing this stuff. The guy and the police were like, we don't want to investigate it. The police went to the house with a locksmith. The locksmith heard the girl yelling from the basement, and then the chief was like, yo, like, let's go. And the locksmith was like, I'm not leaving until we bust this door down because I can hear the girl. He said, yo, who's the police? Am I the police or are you the police? And the first judge was like, yo, I don't want to see no evidence. I don't want to do no DNA test. I don't want to do nothing. Throwing things out. Then they had to switch to another judge. Eventually, the guy did a couple years in jail, and then I think he killed himself. And it was like, this is something that has happened in history already. Now you compare this to the Jeffrey Epstein of today, it's almost the same thing, because you have local, state, federal, all these people involved in it. You like, how deep does it go down the rabbit hole where it's like all these people could body you? And we go back to power. He was sleeping with an ASA federal district attorney, right? A federal agent. He was sleeping with her. And yeah, he owned a business which linked him to the other rich guy that owned all these other stuff. So now he's connected to all these people. He's sleeping with her. She got to protect herself. So now she got to protect him. And because she got to protect him, she got to protect his whole entire family. Now it's like these drug dealers are lined up with the federal agents, and now the police get involved. Hey, the police are getting involved. What's going on, police? Just push the police out. So now you either get down or lay down. Everybody's in it. So it's like they put it right in front of you. In what? Hollywood.
Yeah.
The truth is stranger than fiction.
Exactly. It's always stranger than fiction. That's why a lot of people won't be able to understand your language.
I mean, so there's a simple question to this though. Corruption is everywhere. It's in every industry. It doesn't matter if it's sports, food, whatever.
Yeah. Every industry has it.
So you just gotta understand that, like, being privy to it to a degree, it's hard. It's like, what is the real solution? You know?
Right.
In all reality, because you have policymakers who are in bed with some of the people doing the deeds. So now you have people that are not being punished properly. You just kind of referenced one with the officer probably knew the guy, maybe his family or something into that nature, had some connections. Or the young guy who he raped the girl behind a dumpster and they didn't give him any jail time because it would ruin his future.
Just like Alton Sterling, the guy who was running, and then the cops did not arrest the guys that killed him because the father used to work for the DA office.
Exactly. So you just look at the corruption and it's like, wow, like, what is really the solution moving forward to combat corruption? That's a real good question. Like, I look at it every day because you see blatant slaps in the face Right now, we still have Breonna Taylor's killers who are not, and that she's being rushed to the wayside. I believe Philando Castile's murderers are still running around, and that was on camera.
Yep. Yeah. They got a lot of things on camera, but
They
they
do a
we
lot
don't
of things
see
to
it.
piss us off, I say. One thing I would like to...
You like to
I
absorb your
try.
energy?
The only, in a sense of, like, when you pay attention to it, you're actually giving your energy to it. So what they say is, you know, out of sight, out of mind. And it's kind of like the same thing with the Matrix. I find like it's magic in a sense, like planting a seed. Like, what they do is put a seed in your head and it grows if you water it, giving your energy to it.
Yep.
Just, you got to stop watering it.
Greatest
That's
way
the
to
only
put it.
way. We kind of just got to stop watering it.
That's
No.
the metaphysical way to look at it.
Yeah. Take it out of your mind.
To address what you asked is like, what do we do to address the everything just being so corrupted? And that's why I stress the importance of entrepreneurship, because it's either we infiltrate these places or we create the new norm of these types of industries and make them irrelevant. Because otherwise we're just gonna be a part of a systemic
That
redundancy
cycle. That cycle.
forever
That's
that
a
we've been
cycle.
doing. I mean, we still got artists signing 360 deals.
That's the
Like,
worst deal you can
We
do.
have rappers that have catalogs and albums full of reasons why you shouldn't do it.
Listen,
We got Mace, we got Jay-Z, we
I
got
heard-
so many
Wait, ain't
people.
Migos signed for life? When they
I
read
don't know
their
about it's not for
contract?
life, but they got a 360 deal.
Woo!
But Fabio Foreign is signed to Mace,
He got a 360.
which made no sense.
I want to sign to somebody who had a bad deal.
I'm
Whose
sorry.
career was halted because of a bad deal.
If you got a
No way.
360 deal, there's no way I'm signing.
But that's really.
We have 360 deals, so that would just shut down the whole industry. You wouldn't even see any of the artists without 360 deals.
I mean, there's a lot of them.
Because a
But that's
certain
a bad
group of
deal.
people have to put up money to front them. Again, you're getting a loan to invest in yourself, which is the product, to sell out. However, that loan has interest, knowing that you most of the time won't be able to pay it out. That's why most artists can't afford or don't have their masters. Their masters is with their master. In order for
Yeah.
you to be a master, you got to be taught by a master.
Master.
So they're the product. Someone's giving them the loan again with
Yeah.
interest, right? And it's the same individuals. But that's how you gotta look at it. The system is not broken. It was made this way.
That's
It
true.
was made before you was born.
That's
Well,
what they've been saying.
things like that happen because, rules are implemented to uphold particular interests of certain people. And we could keep it that simple. We could go more in depth, but it's basically to just uphold their interests. Whatever policies are implemented are just to collect debts that are owed.
Back
for-
to Africa?
The issue is organization.
The elderlies are dying right now. They gave they retired their money.
The issue is organization because there's no real commission to regulate these types of things. If people getting scummed or jerked over for decades and type of decades, when does it come in the review board or the gold standard for making sure people do not suffer these same type of situations, right? But people aren't really standing up for that. Or when people do risk their careers for you guys, you don't support them. There's multiple artists that have sacrificed their whole careers, whether it be Lupe's Fiasco, even YK Osiris was
Little
explaining.
Twist.
Little Twist, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
I know I
he
seen
took-
YK Osiris explain some things about the music industry.
What's
There's a lot. There's
B.O.B.
B.O.B. Yeah.
Mhm.
Nobody supports them. Like what?
Talib
No.
Kweli,
Talib Kweli. Yeah. So
Professor Griff,
even my guy Prince. Prince was one of the first people.
Michael Jackson even.
Michael Jackson. Yeah. So there's countless artists.
Kanye West.
Kanye West. One of the greatest.
He's been
Yeah.
And they think
in
he's
the news
crazy.
recently. I don't think he's crazy.
Let's talk about Kanye West for a second. A lot of people saying he's crazy.
That's just the point.
Okay, sorry, brother. Go ahead.
No. It's tied into that basically.
Okay.
When the people do put themselves on the lines, they label them or deem them as crazy. You have all these people that they've put something on, but if you go and dissect, you'll see that there is a lot of truth to light what they're trying to show you. So
They
Kanye West.
They spell it out. No.
But a lot of
What I
people
was
think
gonna
he's
say,
crazy.
Which is a segue from what you were saying. You notice everyone was saying that the movie Get Out was about Kanye West,
Yeah.
but then when he said it, everybody said he's crazy.
Yeah.
And we all been saying, oh, we hope that they don't raise his daughters to be like Kim and her sisters. But when he says it, he's crazy. He's like, yo, I don't want you to put in Playboy. I don't want you to violate. I don't want you to do this. Just think about it. Kim
Kim
Kardashian and
Kim
Kanye West's
Kim
daughter
Kardashian.
in Playboy. Think about it. We done seen Morgan Freeman. Wait, was it? No,
Yeah, he's one of them.
Lawrence Fishburne's daughter went to do porn, right? And then Steven Spielberg's daughter went to go do porn, right? And we like, why are you gonna go do porn? Like, they rich. This doesn't make any sense. So Kanye's saying, I don't want that for my kids, but he's saying it out loud. But he said that he's always been talking like it's just you and him in the room. He said that, and la 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 la. He said, I'm on TV talking like it's just you and me. Now they keep him off of TV. No more MTV, no more BET, no nothing. So he's on Twitter now. He's sending shots off Twitter. And they saying he's crazy. But now all the real niggas pull up on him. Dave Chappelle, Dame Dash, and those are dudes that have no picks. They like, yo, they done talking about the system is corrupt. They done talking about these people.
They already did it.
They done talking about all these people stole. They done saying that he's been exposing people for a minute, but he just say it as a joke, and you like, oh, look at him. But when you seen he got brolic and he got tall, you like, wait, he don't look like a crackhead no more.
Now he's no longer a joke.
Now he's just sending straight shots, like, and he moved from Comedy Central to HBO so he could talk unapologetically. No, to Netflix, sorry. Netflix, so he could speak unapologetically. He be sending political shots. And these are the people that Kanye got surrounded by him now.
To support that he's not crazy.
And he got the money to support all of them because he got $5 billion now.
$5 billion, that's what he said.
Yeah.
I don't take him as a guy selling wolf tickets. His valuation can be measured very easily.
Exactly.
Yeezy's
and he was saying that since last year. He was like, yo, Yeezy was valued at $3 billion, so I know I'm worth at least $6 billion, but they gonna lie. And then Forbes this year finally gave him the billion. I think $2 billion he was at on Forbes.
There was a narrative that they were trying to portray that they did that for a reason. He's been a billionaire, but there was a reason behind that. There were certain people that had to be cited as billionaires prior to him.
Jay-Z.
For appearance purposes. Just for appearance purposes, there are certain people. Kylie as well was stated as a billionaire.
Exactly.
They submitted their money at the same time. And
exactly.
Kylie was valued just off of her makeup company, but Kanye, with the inclusion of his sneakers, his clothing, and then his music catalog alone, you can just measure the worth of the songs of the catalog. Exactly. So it's trivial to believe that Kylie could be a billionaire just off of makeup, and Kanye couldn't become a billionaire just off of his sneakers and catalog alone. It's ridiculous.
At one point, Kanye West was selling $2,000 sneakers. Louis Vuittons. He had Louis Vuitton, Nike, and Adidas. So
you can't tell me he wasn't a billionaire before.
He had to be a billionaire before because he's richer than Jay-Z and Kylie Jenner put together.
Exactly. So,
but they claim he's broke.
And what he shouts out is the truth.
Well, because he's
at times, the times when they call him crazy, like.
Is he not the most transparent billionaire ever?
But he's doing exactly.
Elon Musk too.
You think
him and Elon Musk.
Elon Musk is not transparent.
Who you think is smarter?
But he's doing exactly what
Jay-Z or Kanye?
No, I'm talking about what transparent is like. You're never going to see
smarter than Jay-Z.
Billionaires, right, are usually quiet. Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, Jack Ma, and things. They only say stuff to advance their agenda to the degree. Kanye will educate you just on stuff that would generally increase your inner thinking. Like, you feel me?
Exactly.
Most people don't do that.
Like the Matrix.
Exactly. So Kanye is probably the most, and then even his mood swings is part of his personality. But
it's exactly what I wanted to add. It was about what you said earlier about the drama, in a sense of he's doing controversial things because it brings attention to him.
Well, the difference with certain people is that they'll intentionally do controversial things to create content. Kanye is dead serious.